How do they do it? Why do they do it? Riding and crashing and riding and winning and always faster and faster.
Well, welcome back everybody to With Antone MotoGP 2025. And there's a question that's on everybody's lips at the moment, Ducati, and what has happened to Pecco Bagnaia and Ducati? They are lost. No feelings, no answers, next to no podiums. But we've seen this once before at Ducati, and we saw it with a guy called Andrea Dovizioso, fondly known as Dovi. You know, Dovi fought and beat Marc Márquez on many occasions, and he was the runner-up 3 times in the MotoGP. But the relationship collapsed between Dovi and Ducati. Politics, data, and most importantly, a loss of trust. Now, I want to ask this question this week. Is history repeating itself? Pecco now does not understand the Ducati bike. Has Ducati broken Pecco like they did with Dovi? So let's take a really closer look. So Dovi was a top rider from 2017 to 2020. The Ducati evolved around him, but at the same time, the relationship with Ducati soured. What Dovi wanted in his bike was a neutral, predictable bike, but Gigi Dall'Igna wanted a data-driven, aerodynamic, technical, ride height bike. And what happened? Dovizioso felt ignored. Now, Gigi Dall'Igna is an engineer. Now, he leads Ducati as an engineer. Anyone who's worked with an engineer knows what they're like. It's black, it's white, the data wins all the time. See, he's not into communications. He's not a PR manager like some of the other teams have. His approach is that of a technical expert. So the political drama is developing. What we saw was that Dovizioso, Dovi, and Gigi stopped talking and stopped communicating. And what does Ducati always do? They move on to the next shiny thing. At that time, it was Pecco and Miller. But what Dovi was saying was, I couldn't ride the bike. It wasn't my bike anymore. So we saw technical versus mental challenge. And some small things that start small as a mental problem, they can grow so big and become a huge problem. So what is Pecco's situation right now? He's a 2-time world champion after all. He is and was anointed as the new era of Ducati. One of the most important riders to Ducati, as they said. But 2025 has brought confusion, failure, and a GP25 bike that has a brand new ride height device on the back, of course, and a changed chassis. Now this has changed how the bike feeds back, and in particular how it feeds back to Pecco. As Ducati has said, they do not know why it only happens to him. Now, on the public record, Gigi Dall'Igna and Pecco Bagnaia are still okay. But what I'm seeing is a haunting similarity to what happened to Dovizioso. Now, Gigi's technical approach could further alienate Pecco. Gigi's voice is decisive across the whole of Ducati. Every single aspect, be it technical, sporting, and political. So psychologically, both are starting to question what is going on. One, Pecco is questioning the bike, and Gigi and the Ducati management are starting to question what is happening with Pecco, in particular what's happening in his mind. Now, once this spiral starts, Ducati historically cannot make a change. They cannot reverse the spiral. They will chase data and not chase rebuilding trust, or not chase trying to work with the rider. Now, Pecco's attitude of if only it was the 2024. Now, looking back where the grass is greener is not the way Gigi Dall'Igna works. Gigi is about progression, not regression. Gigi has created the perfect bike. Look at Marc Márquez. He rides the bike perfectly. So why should it not be the case that Pecco cannot ride that bike? Now Pecco, just like how Dovizioso went, he's feeling disconnected from the bike, his results are collapsing, and perhaps the split is starting already. However, I will say this, now Pecco is a two-time world champion. Ducati are going to fight a lot longer than they did with Dovizioso. So the Ducati challenge right now is psychological. It's not technical. Make the GP Des Medici Pecco's bike again? I don't know whether that is possible, but there's some steps that Ducati and Pecco can take to maybe move towards trying to do this. First of all, Pecco has to stop looking back. Stop looking back at the GP24. Yes, they changed and they went back to his philosophy for Motegi, and they gave him exactly the same bike at Mandalika. Now, anyone who knows the difference between Motegi and Mandalika is huge. Motegi, stop, go, get in, turn the corner, stop the bike, accelerate, and away you go. But that's not the setup you want at Mandalika. Now, when I hear we gave him exactly the same bike, Pecco said, don't change it. You know, they probably did, and they left it as it was, but it was never going to be great. You know, the Mandalika circuit with its long power on and the harder carcass Michelin tyre was never going to work. Now, I was listening to Pecco, and he said, when you're on the ground that low, you can jump up. But when you're below ground, you need someone to pull you out. So the fractures in the Ducati setup have already started. Uccio from VR46 blunder re the 2024 Mazzano test was really the first sign that Ducati won't be happy. Corporately, they will not be happy that these things are being said. And surely Rossi can be of more assistance to Pecco Bagnaia. He can be there, even if it's just to explain what it's like to really battle with a teammate like we saw with Lorenzo. You know, famously they put the pit box there. But Rossi should be able to help as the leader of the VR46 to help Pecco. And some of the questions we need to now start to ask at the end of this episode is, can Pecco Bagnaia pull himself out? He's had the assistance of Caseystoner, but will he get psychological help? Now, sports science has come a long way, and it's not uncommon for elite athletes to use psychological assistance in sports science. So will Pecco make that choice? So these are some of the questions we have to ask. So here we are. We have got a two-time world champion riding a legendary bike and a team now searching for answers. But the Ducati data says everything is okay. But you take one look at Pecco, he's missing press conferences, he's downtrodden, you look at his body language, he is really, really on the way out mentally. Now, can Ducati rebuild this trust? Or are we watching Dovizioso Part 2? The other question I want to end on this week is Pecco in the fit state? We know Marc Márquez is injured. He will miss the next two rounds, Phillip Island and Sepang. But is Pecco the guy you want to develop the bike for 26 and 27? This is some of the things that we have to stop and ask the question. Now, only time will tell what will happen. And I would like to think that perhaps we can see a great effort from both sides between Pecco and Ducati. But anyway, that's the episode for this week. If you found it interesting, why not give it a thumbs up? Or what do you think about it? There's been so much said. Drop your thoughts below in the comments. And if you're enjoying with Antone MotoGP, I would love to get a subscription. Okay, bye for now, and we'll see you again soon.